In this demonstration, I'll quickly show you the other roles. As I explained earlier, you'll find this would be the landing page that you have. First, we'll have a look at operations. If you click on operations, we'll move to the next screen. Over here, you can see, as I mentioned before, the different KPIs. This is where you'll be making your decisions. As you can see, inbound, mixing, bottling, and outbound warehouse have different placing allocations. So if you've made your choices over here, you'll save your information and move on to mixing. The mixing, depending on which level we'll be playing, you'll have certain options which you can look at. Also, another important factor is if you click on decision log, you'll see the previous round's decisions. As you can see over here, all the decisions that were made in round 2. If you wanted to go back to round 0 to compare data outputs and decisions, you can click on this and it will show you that, for example, as no raw material inspection was done at any of these suppliers, you'll see your outbound warehouse. You had 900 pallet allocations, 500 permanent employees, your intake time was 5 hours. As you scroll down, you'll see no preventive maintenance or solve breakdown issues were done. All these options either cost money or time, so you're welcome to select them. The problem is you might run out of resources either on the human side, or it'll have cost implications. Over here you'll see the finished good warehouse and your line settings. This was for a specific bottling line. Just to illustrate the difference, this was round 0, and in round 2 you'll see raw material was inspected for the mono packing materials. This was probably due to poor quality, which you would have found in your data sets. If you click on these reports, also important, you can either just click directly on these, or you can download all the data through Excel, as I showed in the previous video. This little diagram will show you the basics, your inbound and outbound capacity, the usage, the utilization rate. This is near perfect. Ideally you'd like to keep this at about 85%. 100% means that you definitely overstretched your workers' abilities, so this was almost perfect. But if there were any fluxes in demand or deliveries arriving at the same time, you'd have to make use of overflow warehouse, where you can. This illustrates it quite nicely. You actually needed 16 or 15% overflow capacity, although your cube utilization was almost perfect. Over here you can see the order lines. You'll see the difference as we supply packaged finished goods. You might have more outbound than inbound movement. This is also very important if you consider the amount of full-time employees, as they have set hours that they'll be able to work. Over here you'll see the hours per week, and this is a average diagram, so it's all average graph, so it won't show exactly the values that were recorded, but it will give you a good indication of the spikes in demand needed. This is, as you can see, everything in the game is done over capacity, over the time spent. As the finance component is always very important. This is available for each of the roles. You'll see it's in reverse order. So this is your current round, or the previous round, the round before, etc. As I mentioned before, all the information will be available by clicking on it. You can see that you'd like to reduce the purchase value but keep the unproduction cost, but obviously benefit by producing the same amount of good quality and achieving higher sales revenue values. Over here you'll see, if you click on the finance role, you'll get more detailed information than on the report over here. I'll quickly show you that. As you can see, this is a similar layout, but it's it's not compressed anymore. If you click on any of these little pluses, you'll get drop-down menus which will show you specifically information regarding bonuses and penalties and all the other things. A big part of the game is to deliver what you promise, and that's where the bonuses and penalties come in. As you can see over here, pretty much a great part of the additional revenue produced was just not losing money on penalties. Each client will have specific demands in order of quality, shelf life, delivery reliability, and on-shelf availability. If you promise a client a certain percentage, you need to deliver. Otherwise, you can have extensive penalties. As you move through this, you'll see all the interesting factors. Handling cost, depending on your warehouse setup and your transport setups, all these values will be changed quite a bit. It's important to take note of most of the information where you can, and make your own decisions. It's very important to take all the information and devise a specific strategy, and make sure that all of you have the same idea in terms of the either producing ultra agile components or more stable low cost goods. These options are all available in the game. I've moved over to sales now. Over here you can see you'll have agreements with your clients. Later on in the game you'll be able to have order management and category management, where you'll be able to discontinue some of the products for certain clients. This will have an impact on your contract index. Each client has specific demands depending on what they require in terms of volume, production. Over here you can see I clicked over on the info for food and groceries. Over here you can see the dynamics of their operation, and by looking at their market share and how many stores they have, you can decide whether they're an important customer or not. Over here you can see you can manipulate a few of these decisions depending on what you change. Over here your contract index will change. As I mentioned before, it's important to keep in mind that you'd like to keep your penalties to a minimum. Promotion pressure is also very important, as it creates spikes in your demand, and your finished good warehouse might not be keeping up. Over here you'll see the category management, also important, as I said, later on in the game. You can either remove or include full product range. Forecasting is also forms an important part of the simulation, and over here it's just a basic tool for you to decide if you will have increased sales or not. This information, if you go to the original landing page, you'll have information toggles, as I mentioned before. I'll quickly show you. If you click on sales, for example, over here it will tell you what the problems were. Sometimes you'll have a information sheet indicating that you expect to increase the amount of sales from a certain client, or a reduced sale, or whatever. All the reporting information is available over here. Very important to take as much of it into account as possible. Remember to always scroll down and make sure you've gone through everything that you need to. Once again, your decision log over here will be able to show you what the previous decisions were and how to progress. Finally, we'll take a look at supply chain management. Supply chain management is very important, as it combines all the other roles, as you can imagine. Sales promise certain deliverables, but your purchasing and operations need to be able to handle these issues. At the beginning, your component availability will be controlled by your supply chain manager. This means that your purchasing the VIP will decide what products to order, but the actual stock levels will be controlled by the supply chain manager. Your production scheduling will also be controlled by the supply chain manager. these tools have a great influence on the production side of things, and it's very important once again to go through over all the information ticks to understand what each definition means, and how these actions fit together. Over here you'll see stock management of finished goods, so you'll have inbound and outbound control, making the supply chain role very important. Over here, once again, all the reports that you would have, all the information that you require, and over here you can change your little KPIs and dashboards. Decision log over here, again, very important.